John chapter 7 introduction. What is this chapter about? Okay, Jesus continues doing what Jesus did, teaching. He's the word ultimately, so the word needs to go out, so it needs to be taught. Or it needs to be taught. Or it needs to be taught, whatever. Anyhow, so it starts off with there's another holy time coming, the Feast of the Booths is coming. And Jesus' brothers wanted Jesus to, since he's doing all these signs, a lot more than is shown in the Gospel of John, they wanted him to go up and show himself to the people. I mean, if you're like going to be the king, if you're the Messiah, and Jerusalem is the place to be, this is what you're supposed to do. You can't hide yourself. What's the point of it, right? And so yeah, if you are the brothers of somebody that's important, then you might, you will attract attention as well. Because they'll ask you, so how was this kid when he was growing up, etc., etc., all those kinds of questions, right? So maybe, like the disciples, they were looking out for that as well from Jesus, to what they can get out of Jesus, not so much for the truth, but more what they can get. Okay. So Jesus was like, no, I'm not going to go there. My time's not here yet, right? And yeah, your time is here. Yes, sure you can. But then Jesus did go, and he actually taught there. Did he lie to his brothers? Well, in the teaching part, we'll look at that. So wait for that, for the teaching part. I mean, you can always skip and go and listen to the teaching part, but then you wouldn't hear this, so anyhow. Okay, so he did go and he taught there, and it attracted attention. And the people were amazed. How does he know all these things? He's he didn't go to the temple. He didn't study under Gamaliel like Paul did. So how does he know all these things? And they were divided. Is he the Messiah or isn't he? And so the Pharisees, or the religious leaders, they sent soldiers to go and catch Jesus and bring him back. They went and they were amazed at what is happening and the crowd's reaction and everything. And so they couldn't do anything to Jesus ultimately. And so they went back to tell him. And then we all of a sudden see dear old Nicodemus again in the story, of speaking, not really speaking out, but kind of opening his mouth, at least in open here now. And then they're like, oh, are you a Galilean? See, because no, prophets didn't come from that part of the world. And so he kept quiet again. So at least it's not at night, at least it's amongst his own, and at least he's speaking out. Something, it's growth. And yes, this is not the end, but this is an important chapter for the growth in the story of Nicodemus, which will ultimately then be finished well, not finished, but at least come out clearly in the death, the crucifixion of Jesus. So yeah, this is in short what this chapter is about. So join us in a different part here in the garden as we're going to start looking at John chapter 7 from the verse 1 onwards. Yeah, by the way, the chapter ends with they all went home, kind of, and with an inclusion part concerning that, or a note in the ESV version that this was not in the original manuscripts. Now the part they mention there is, well, chapter 8, about the woman caught in adultery. No, yeah, I'm not going to speak too much about it now. This chapter ends in this note, okay? So when we get to chapter 8, I'll speak more about that and my opinion on this, which ultimately I think it's a kind of an educated opinion, but anyhow, we'll see, okay? Yeah, I'm just now thinking of education and all that. I think the people can ask the same thing about me. Jesus, I'm not Jesus, for sure not. Where did he get his knowledge from? I didn't go to any Bible school. Still to today. I mean, I did study some online course and stuff like that, but yeah, 30 odd years in the mission field, studying the Word of God, kind of teaches you something in life. Yeah. So join me for the teaching, the continuation or the teaching, the starting of teaching John chapter 7 verse 1.